Someone needs to slap this girl upside her head. Gret.
With the first 6 episodes of Disventure Camp All-Stars being released, I decided just to give my overall thoughts on the season so far. Because just making one video for All-Stars will be way too long, and your boy does not feel like editing one video for days. But the main things I'm going to focus on are the characters, what I like and dislike about the season, and my overall thoughts of the elimination order. Let's grab a seat and talk about Disventure Camp All-Stars. Just like Total Drama All-Stars, we saw contestants from both seasons return. I actually really like this idea of an All-Star season. It's nice seeing characters from different seasons interact. It was something I was looking forward to for the season. At least I can say Disventure Camp All-Stars probably would be better whatever Total Drama did. They did so many characters dirty that season. Like, why did Mal exist? Characters being pretty dumb. And just overall, Total Drama All-Stars wasn't a good season. Like, just like why All-Stars? Like, why? But anyways, getting back onto Disventure Camp, there's actually 18 contestants competing. They all have new/updated designs, which is very nice. I personally really like Yule's and Tess' new design the most. Like I said before, it's nice having 18 contestants. And there's actually 3 teams, being Magenta, Teal, and Yellow. Can you guys guess what team I was looking forward to the most? If you guess Magenta, you are right. Going to be 100% honest, it's mainly because of Ashley and James. Like, I was so disappointed that Ashley got eliminated super early in season 1. And this is a chance for Ashley to shine and hopefully at least make merge. Talk more about each character as I talk about the episodes. But I was mostly looking forward to Ashley this season, and maybe Tess. Starting with episode 1, we see that the characters introduce themselves and get ready for the next season. We see James and Aiden being cute. We see Fiore escaping and calling Yule a bitch. I can't get over Yule's face expressions. Like, his face expressions are pretty funny. Speaking on Yule, the most random thing happened. Yule and Gret are dating. Like, I would never suspect this. I already knew this wasn't going to end well, because come on guys, it's Yule. The one that tried to poison someone. But not going to lie, the intro gave me a small hope they might actually like each other. But we all know it's part of Yule's act. We see Ellie roast everyone, and the Gen 1 cast isn't happy about that. How can I forget about Allie and Hunter? The ones that argue most of episode 1. Just going to talk about them now, since I won't really mention them until episode 5. They were literally forgettable most of the season. And when we did see them, it was them arguing, or Hunter having a strong hatred for Fiore. Like, my dude did not like her. He made sure to give us a reminder of that each episode. I honestly wish they did more of these characters, but I get why they want to focus on other characters right now. But I really didn't care about them for most of the episodes. Like, I wasn't really a huge fan of the love triangle thing in season 2, but at least Hunter is actually a pretty cool and enjoyable character that season. Enough talking about these two until later in the season. Next is Rhea and Connor. Connor was honestly a more surprising pick for this season, but I was honestly looking forward to him. Then Rhea. Oh, Rhea. She's definitely a full villain this season. I feel like Rhea should be a character that I really do like and enjoy, but I just don't. I don't hate her as much as other people, but I do think she's just alright. I guess she's the movie star now, which explains the big fur coat. Like, you can tell Rhea has a nice side, but we almost never see it. But moving on, we have Jake and Tom. I guess they're taking a break and Tom is just ignoring him. I do have to say, Tom was my favorite character before All-Stars, but he isn't anymore. I think he's still a pretty good character though. We also have Lake and we get to see Rosa for a little bit, which is nice. I don't really have more to say for episode 1. It was a nice start episode, getting to know the characters and what they've been up to. But moving on to season 2, where the real challenge starts. We see the teams talk, Jake and Ashley have a friendship, one of the characters I was most excited for, and one of the characters I was least excited for as friends. But overall, the friendship is pretty good. Ashley's a really good friend to Jake, which I do like. They're also hating on Fiore. The Fiore hate this season is really popular, but this girl somehow escapes elimination each time. Honestly, for this episode, I'm just going to talk about Magenta team, because that's what it's mainly focused on. We all know about the Jake and James drama. Jake being Jake believes it, and decides to tell James, causing this problem, taking all the attention away from Fiore and putting it between these two. This episode really did make James dislikable. Like, it didn't help I didn't like him in season 1. His obsession with Tom causes a lot of problems for him. I get why he's like this, but it gets annoying at times. But luckily he does get better later in the season, and actually becomes a decent character. I know, shocker, me actually liking Jake. It's time for elimination. I was actually really hoping Jake was gonna go home, but no, it was my boy James going home, which is so annoying. I get that he won last season, but he did nothing wrong. I was actually looking forward to James this season, and a character I really do like. But no, he's the one that gets eliminated. Him as the first boot just feels so wrong. I definitely didn't want him to make it like super far in the season, but he shouldn't have been the first boot in my opinion. I really didn't like the whole Jake and James drama in this episode, but it definitely added some drama and some spice to the episode. It definitely wasn't a bad episode, but not my favorite, and had things I didn't like. Episode 3, the famous episode where Ellie gets a lot of hate by the fandom. The challenge was alright, it was like some treasure finding thing. Wasn't the hugest fan of it, but it wasn't horrible. But we see things like Alec and Miriam tricking Blue Team, causing them to lose the challenge. We also see Ashley trying to help Jake with the whole Tom thing, which was nice of her. Also, Rhea, she kind of breaks up with Connor because she wants to kind of play like the villain role and doesn't want Connor in her way. I felt bad for Connor. You can tell he really cares about Rhea, but she is so focused on the game and keeping her fame. We also saw the form of the Girl Alliance. We all know how that alliance went. Let's just focus on Teal Team. So they lost the challenge. It was going good, and they were planning to eliminate Aiden, but Lake was not having it, causing a whole problem between her and Ellie. Then during the elimination ceremony, Ellie decided to throw Lake under the bus, and Lake being Lake told the truth to Tom, causing her to get eliminated. I remember people were so mad about this elimination. I was shocked because Lake seemed like she would make it pretty far this season, but also her elimination just didn't feel right. I feel like Ellie should have got eliminated instead. Tom voting for Lake kind of made no sense. Like, Tom, you know you can't trust her, but you still believe her. Even though I'm pretty sure he did mention he knew Ellie was lying to him at the end of the episode. But still, I feel like it would have made more sense for Tom to vote out Ellie. I don't really blame Tess too much since she was in a tough situation. James and Lake getting eliminated this early just felt so wrong. But I don't actually hate Lake getting eliminated. Like, Ellie's just playing a game. But her voting on Tom would probably kept her safe anyways. This elimination was just so confusing. But overall, I don't hate Ellie. I think she's actually a pretty good character. Didn't go hate on her just because of this elimination. But it's understandable why people weren't a fan of Lake getting eliminated. This is actually a pretty decent episode, not my favorite. Episode 4. This is definitely my favorite episode so far. Another episode where the contestants wear the swimsuits. They must love the swimsuits. The challenge was just alright. But we get to see the villain alliance between Gret, Rhea, Yul, Alec, Fiora, and Ellie. I actually really like the idea of a villain alliance, but I had a feeling it was going to end pretty badly. To be honest though, I'm not the biggest fan of like half the characters, but I'm still looking forward to it. Got to see more of Alec this episode, which is nice. Alec is my favorite Disventure Camp character, and I really like him also so far. I actually really want him to win the season. We'll talk more about the villain alliance for episode 5. But moving on to Jake and Ashley. Love that Ashley is getting more screen time, and we get to hear more about her past. And Jake is actually proven. I don't hate Jake anymore. I really do like Ashley as Jake's friend, because she's like the voice of reason. She will help Jake, but also reminds him not to believe everything he hears. This just helps Jake's character. I actually do want to make a video for Jake one day, so don't want to talk too much about him, but overall he's a pretty good character in All Stars, if you don't look at episode 2. Oh Tom, what did they do to you this season? At first I was definitely blaming Jake at the start of the season, but more and more the season goes, Tom is actually the problem. Just please talk to Jake so it can be over. Also, Tom getting mad at Jake for tripping or whatever he did to Aiden was so hypocritical. He literally did the same thing to Gret. And this is a challenge, Tom. He has to do it to win the challenge. So it makes no sense for him to get mad. This hurts me so much as a Tom fan. Like I mentioned before, Tom was my favorite character, but All Stars is just kind of doing him dirty. His friendship with Aiden is pretty nice though. Let's move on to the elimination. So Yellow Team loses and Miriam goes home. Which isn't surprising, I was actually fine with her getting eliminated. Would have honestly preferred for her to be the first boot instead of James, but Miriam was still pretty good in All Stars. And her plan to expose the villain alliance was very smart, and it was a good ending note for her. Now to episode 5, where we actually see Allie and Hunter get some focus. They're still having some problems, and we learn that Allie gets a lot of hate comments and actually really do bother her. We also see them have small interactions with Jake and Ashley. Ashley and Allie's friendship is actually pretty good. However, the biggest thing this episode was the villain alliance getting leaked by Connor, which I really liked and added some problems to the villain alliance. This definitely put Ellie and Fiora in a bad spot. You would think they'd be the next ones to get eliminated. However, Ellie was able to convince Gabby and maybe Tess However, Ellie lying to Gabby is probably going to backfire on her, because we all know Gabby doesn't do well when people lie to her or betray her. And with Fiore, her team really hated her, so they definitely did not believe whatever Fiore said. But I do have to give some props to Ellie. Her trying to work with Fiore would actually help her and Hunter make it farther in the season. But Hunter has a strong hatred for Fiore. My dude really has beef with a child. But I also don't really blame him too much. Fiore is more of a weaker character for challenges. And we actually saw this during this episode. Again, Fiore would make so much sense to get eliminated this episode. But speaking on the challenge, the villain alliance doesn't even work that well. The one character that has the highest chance of going home via Fiore, and Rhea does not care and wins the challenge. Finally going to talk about Yul and Gret. Yul is definitely a character. I'm just going to say it, I don't like Yul. However, I do have to say he's a pretty well written character for the role he's supposed to play. He's not meant to be likable and it's supposed to be this piece of garbage. So I can understand why people like him, but I still don't. Then Gret. I feel bad for her. She needs to get as far as possible from Yul. Something I do have to say about Gret, I feel like she hasn't done too much this season. Like, I don't really remember too much from her, except for her and Yul's problems in like the first episode. Hopefully we do get to see more of Gret, and it does kinda happen in episode 6. Before I talk about the elimination, let me talk about Tess real quick, since I really haven't talked about her too much. We see her talk to Hunter, which is nice, and she's probably going to help Ellie when merge happens. Tess also has this thing with Ellie. She's definitely the most safe character on her team. She doesn't really have any targets on her back. I honestly can see her making top 5, maybe top 3. I know Tess is a very popular character that has a lot of fans. And I find Tess just alright. She's overall a pretty good character, but she really hasn't done anything that makes me really like this character or think she's amazing. But moving on to elimination. Magenta team loses and you would think Fiora would go home. But nope, it is Hunter. I get why Ashley and Jake voted Hunter. It's kind of a smart decision on their part, but still. I really didn't care Hunter got eliminated. He hasn't really done that much this season, and he made it pretty far in season 2. At least he encourages Allie before he leaves. We are finally at the last episode. I feel like I've been talking forever. This was a musical theme episode, and I love it. This has been my favorite Disventure Camp challenge. As a huge music fan, I was so excited for this episode. But before I talk more about it, let's quickly talk about Yul and Emily. So we learned that Yul is using Gret and doesn't like her. Which isn't shocking, but okay. It also seems like Emily's going to help him throughout the season. Emily was honestly really forgettable until this episode. I was actually struggling to remember her name. I do think Emily's going to be the reason why Yul gets eliminated. I swear, Yul is so out of pocket most of the time. But again, I do feel bad for Gret. Enough talking about Yul. Let's go back to the challenge. We did not just get a musical theme episode, but their outfits also change. I got to say their outfits for this episode were really good. Some of my favorites were Aiden, Yul, and Allie. I do have to say they did Alec very dirty. Like, what did they do to him? The mohawk look definitely does not suit him. Also, Connor and Ashley's outfit weren't my favorite, but everyone else had really good outfits. But the songs are the main part. They were all pretty good. I would say Magenta was definitely my favorite. Really like Allie and Jake's part. Also, Ashley and Fiore did a good job too. This was definitely Allie's best episode. I think she'll start becoming a more important character. There's only one part that really confuses me for Magenta's team. And it's when Fiore says she couldn't play an instrument, but then literally during the performance, we see Fiore playing an instrument. Like, that kind of made no sense. Then I would say Teal Team is next. Ada did a really good job and definitely carried this song. Wish we saw more Tess, but everyone else did good. Then we got the kissing scene. Literally a jump scare when I saw it on the thumbnail. But I won't talk too much about it. Then I would have ranked Yellow Team Song Class. It wasn't bad, just not my favorite. Really like the challenge for this episode. However, Yellow Team does lose because it destroyed equipment. It was between Connor and Yul who's going home. It was obvious that Connor was going to be eliminated because of Yul and Emily and the Villain Alliance. It was obvious that Connor was going to get eliminated because of Yul and Emily and the Villain Alliance. However, I feel like it made more sense for Yul to go home. Alec was friends with Connor, and Rhea agreed to eliminate Yul, so Yul could have went home. There would also be no consequences for Alec if he voted Yul. I doubt Gret really could do anything. It would be a 3 versus 1. I felt bad for Connor. I was actually looking forward to Connor this season, and I thought he would actually make it pretty far. I have a feeling he might come back. I just have a feeling. I'm not sure if it's going to be true, but I have a feeling deep down he might come back. Wasn't super disappointed about his elimination, but it wasn't my favorite. But overall, I really liked this episode, and it was probably my favorite episode. Overall, I would say Disventure Camp All-Stars has been pretty good so far. The voice actors do an amazing job. They all do a really good job of voicing their characters. It's also a really good fan series. However, the elimination order has been questionable, and the writing has some bad moments. But overall, it's really good, and respect the people that work on the show. Definitely all the animators, because it does look really nice and clean. Hello, this is Editor Me. I just want to thank you guys so much for watching, and also, I don't hate All Stars. I think it's overall pretty good. There are some problems that I have with it, but it's a really good fan series. I really do respect all the people that work on the show. I've been working on editing for like, I don't know how long, 10 hours. It's like 2 a.m. right now, so I'm very tired. But like, again, thank you so much for watching, and also thank you guys for almost 1,000 subscribers. It means a lot. So see you guys next video, and have an amazing day/night.